Hola amigos, and welcome back to my YouTube channel and to my wintry garden. It is a little bit chilly out here, honestly, but I've got some tea left to keep me warm. If you haven't been to my channel before, my name is Emma Bennet. I'm a UK-based writer and I mainly write contemporary romance, but also Regency romance, children's picture books and non-fiction for writers. And I'm also a freelance developmental editor, a book coach and a creative writing instructor. I do a lot of stuff, which is why I'm trying to be really organized this year and to break down all of my goals and targets into monthly goals and targets, which is what I'm going to talk to you about today. So like I say, I've got a lot to do this year. I've got a lot of books that I want to bring out and a lot of other stuff as well. So my target for January was to finish the second draft of my manuscript, which I started in NanoWriMo last November. So this manuscript has got a working title of A Scottish Christmas, and it's going to be my Christmas book for this year. So basically I need to get it to my publishers in April, I believe it is. I'm not absolutely sure, but I think in April it'll be fine. Yeah, so first draft was done during NanoWriMo. I think I was at about 51,000 words, which I was really pleased with. And so January, second draft, no problem is what I thought. It's all there, it'll all be good. Yeah, so on the plus side, I did manage to finish draft 2. It wasn't easy. And well, did I? Technically, I finished at, what was it, just after 1 a.m. in the morning. So technically I was into February. I went kind of an hour and about 3 minutes into February. But, you know, I'll forgive myself that and we'll say that it was done in January. So there was more work to do than I would normally need to do doing a second draft. Usually my first drafts are pretty clean. Everything's there, and the second draft is very much going through making sure that everything makes sense and adding in some more description in particular. But for whatever reason, although I did manage to do the words in NanoWriMo, I did struggle this year, and it was really hard going. If you watched my vlogs, you will know there was a lot of complaining, there was a lot of heartache, although I did only cry once. So, you know, that was good. But so when I opened up the document, I think January the 2nd, yeah, it was not in as good a shape as I would have liked it to have been. Definitely not in as good a shape as my previous NanoWriMo manuscript was after completing NanoWriMo. So I had quite a lot of work to do, not in terms necessarily of word counts. So I think last night when I finished, I was about 55,200 and something words, which is great. That's what I'm happy with. My romances are typically between 55,000 and 60,000 words. So that's great. And the vast majority of the scenes were there, and I was quite happy with those. What I wasn't happy with was the development of my female character and just being absolutely sure that the reader would feel that my hero and heroine just had to be together. And that is a non-negotiable in my books. The reader has to truly believe that these two people belong together and that something would be terribly wrong if they don't end up together in the end. So there was a lot of going through, a lot of kind of checking the peaks and flows of their relationship, using the wonderful Romancing the Beat, which I know so many romance writers just absolutely swear by and is fantastic, by Gwen Hayes. If you haven't got that book and you write romance, just get it. Just get it. It's absolutely brilliant. So yeah, and I enjoy that part of editing. I really enjoy kind of taking a big view of the relationship and how it develops during the manuscript. So I was happy with that. There's also quite a few secondary characters, more than I would usually have in my books. So I needed to make sure that their relationship with my heroine was strong as well. She needs to feel that she is kind of part of this family group. It's the secondary characters are the hero's family, and she's gone to go to stay with them. So I really want her to be kind of drawn into that group and to feel like she belongs, like she hasn't in a very long time. It was super important to the story. So again, fine, this I can do. The main problem that I came up against was my own stupidity. Do not be like me. So basically, I really like to add animals into my books. I love animals, and I think that the way that characters interact with animals can say a lot about them, and I just find it a very interesting dynamic. And speaking to my editor at my publishing company as well, she said, yeah, all the animals, readers love the animals, great. But I have done quite a few dog characters. I've had a fantastic cat character as well, Mr. Darcy, in My Perfect Hero, who I know is a favourite. So I wanted something different. And me being me, I'd never take the easy route. So I decided on a domesticated goat called Houdini. Now, this goat is based on goats who I knew when I lived on in a house that was part of a farm. And when we used to take our own dog out for walks, we only had one dog then, this goat was called Houdini because he used to escape, and sometimes he would come and join us on the dog walk, which my dog felt was very strange, and then he would follow us back home and try to eat everything in the garden, which, me being me, I thought was really cute. Anyway, so this seemed like a great idea, and it would be super cute. He would belong to the daughter of the house and would be in all the scenes, and that is how I wrote it during NanoWriMo. I had this goat turning up everywhere. My only worry was that maybe I wasn't making him destructive enough, as a goat might be, because, you know, I'm wanting to keep the story moving. This isn't a children's book about Houdini the goat. I should write a children's book about Houdini the goat being rescued by this little girl. That is actually something I should do. Anyway, so fine, but I was happy with the character. He's super cute. He, lots of funny moments, and he wins everybody over, and it's great. Anyway, though, at the beginning of January, for some reason, I felt I should properly Google about any issues that people have had having goats in their house, domesticated animals. And it turns out that, it's really hard to have a goat in your house. They're majorly destructive. They will pee and poop over everything, and very few people manage it, especially in this beautiful Scottish country house belonging to a laird that I am trying to convey in my book. And I kind of don't feel that goat droppings around the entrance hall, which is done up kind of like this amazing Narnia fantasy for Christmas, is quite what I'm going for. So a major part of my drafting for January was taking Houdini the goat and putting him outside all the time. So he could kind of escape and get into the house sometimes, but basically all the scenes, and he was in like every scene because he was supposed to be basically stuck to this little girl, like her dog. He thinks that he's a dog and he follows her everywhere. So every single scene, this goat had to be taken out of and put outside, and it was driving me completely insane. So please do not be like me. If there's anything that you don't know, Google it before you write an entire book based on this premise. If there is one piece of information that I can pass on, one piece of very important advice, it is to Google stuff that you don't know before you write a whole book. So there you go. Anyway, so yeah, that's January. I've completed the second draft. I'm pretty happy with it. I did actually think this morning of something that I need to add in right to the end that would kind of cute, make the ending even sweeter than it already is. So what I'm going to do is just make a note of anything like that I think of over the next month in my notebook that I have for this project, and then when I go back to this project again in March, I'll be able to make those changes. for the final draft 3, before it goes off to my editor, which will be brilliant. For February, I have an even bigger task, which I'm probably actually putting off by filming this video rather than getting on with it. And that is that I'm going to be getting back to my Regency romance that I was writing last July for Camp NanoWriMo. I was having a wonderful, wonderful time writing it. But you know what? Writing historicals is really, really hard. Really hard. And I didn't get as far with it as I'd hoped to. But my plan for February, which I kind of wish was a longer month, we've only got 29 days, I could do with a couple of extra, is to finish the first draft of that. And if I manage that this month, I will be absolutely thrilled with myself. And then March, with it only being draft 3 of my Christmas book, that should be much easier. So yeah, that is what my February is going to be looking at. So I would love to know how your January went if you're setting monthly goals, because it's not something that I typically do unless it's a nano month or a Camp Nano month. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it works and whether I actually end up being more productive this year, or whether I just end up being completely fed up and burnt out, honestly. Like, either could happen. We're not sure. Please, if you enjoyed this video, make sure that you boop the like button and subscribe if you're not already, because we have a lot of fun here. And I will catch you in the next one. Have an awesome rest of your day.